I'm Sam Hollis from Sam Hollis Web Design. Today I'm going to look at how making a 3-column structure in Divi. So I'm going to give a bit of an example of the sort of thing we're going to build. So I've got here from my website, you can see here actually there's 4 columns. For this sort of thing where you've got a background and we've got some different sections, how you could build that on a page or maybe on a blog if you wanted to make your blog a bit more interesting than just plain text. So we're going to go through how to do it. First thing you need to do, so I've got sort of the basics of a page here, a sort of header, and then this is my headline. Okay, and I'm currently in the Divi visual builder. If you don't know how to get in that, I've got some other videos that show you. I'm going to presume you know how to get here, and we're going to take it straight from here. So what we want to do is we want to add a new section, which is blue here, the blue plus. So we click there, and that's going to be a regular section. As soon as you've done that, it asks you to insert a row, and we want 3 columns. So we're going to select here a 3-column row. And we're going to want some text, so once it says insert the module, I'm going to scroll down and select text. That will do for now, and I will tick. So the first thing I always notice here is my 3 columns are not full width. You've got a huge amount of space at the sides. How much will depend on your monitor and things, but there's a big space at the side. I'd like to go full width. So I'm going to click somewhere in here. So now I can press the cog for the row settings. I can click on the design tab, sizing, and when I get down to the width and maxed width, I can make that 100% width, and the max width, the maximum it will go. When I tick OK, now suddenly my section here is full width. So now I'd like to add a background image. So I'm going to actually put a background image in here in the section settings. So let's just show you how we did that again. So in the section settings, click within the section, you click the cog on the blue, and you're in the section settings. We're going to make the background an image. So you've got options here. You can add a colour if you just want it coloured. You can add a gradient, images, or a video. Videos do slow things down. I'm going to go for a background image. It takes me to my standard WordPress image library, which I'm going to scroll through and find a relevant image to use. So I think I'm going to use this one. There we go. So there's an image to use. Yep, so I'll click on Save Changes. That's now a background image. You can see now the text isn't appearing so well against that, so we need to sort that out. So let's do a few things with the text then to help with that. So if we click here on the section, which is grey, and click the cog, it gives us the text settings. Okay, so that's the text itself, which we'll just leave for now, but we can't see it very well. So what I'm going to do, I want to add a bit of a background colour, and I want to change the colour of the text too. Okay, so to do the background, I stay in this content section and I scroll down to background, and like we were talking about before, there's the option tab, so I'm going to do a colour this time. So we'll add a background colour. I'm going to go for this grey. What I want is, I don't want it fully grey, I want it semi-transparent. So if I click on the little dropper there, I've got some options with the colours, and one of them on this side is transparency. So I can change how transparent it is here with the slider. You see, so I can make it really transparent and the image appears, or not at all and the image disappears, and varies in between. Make it about halfway. Okay. And then obviously I need to change the text colour because that's not looking quite right. So again, I'm in text seconds in content. I go to the design tab, click on text. If it was a header, I click on heading text, but this is standard text. And one of the options in here is text colour, so let's make that white. That is much more clear. That all looks good. It's sort of, I can see how the background looks a bit better now. But what you'll probably see is it doesn't look brilliant because we've got the text right up against the edge of that box. So we want to sort that too. So for that, we need to go into spacing. So we stay in design and we go down to spacing, and we're going to add some what we call padding. So padding is spaced inside this box, and we can add it in percent or pixels. I'm going to add in pixels, so which is default. Add 20 pixels. If I click the button there, it just copies it from the top to the bottom, so it's equal on both sides. And we'll do the same for left and right. Add padding of 20, and now you can see there's a nice space around the box. It looks it's a bit easier on the eye, it's a bit easier to read, it's much nicer to see. So that's all looking good so far. So the next thing we want to think about is some spacing around the edge of the box, because if we look at the box, this grey box, it goes right up against the edge of the screen on this side, and on the right hand side, once we put another text box here, they're going to be touching. That's going to look a bit rubbish, okay? So the padding in spacing, the padding is what goes inside the box, and then the margin is outside the box. If I put a left and a right margin in, let's say of 30 pixels, suddenly you can see there's some space either side. So again, it suddenly makes it a bit nicer to read, looks a bit nicer, and with the space in between the boxes, that would be really nice. So we've added all of those. I will tick and all of that will be saved. Okay, I want then 3 more text boxes. Now to save making all of those changes again and probably making some error in the numbers, the simplest thing to do is to copy. So we can just, let's just go through that again. I click on the box and I click that button which is copy. I've now got 3 copies. So I can click on one of the copies, click on the arrows there on the left which allows me to move it, and I'll drag one here in the middle, and I'll do the same with the bottom one. I'll click on it, I'll click on the arrows here, and I'll move that to the right. You should be able to see there when I move it there, sort of a little grey strip appears. It's quite hard to see, but a little grey strip appears there. Now we've got the 3 of them there, so we've got the 3 text boxes. Next thing is, this might be some sort of sales thing. We might want, say, some buttons underneath. So this might be telling about a product or something you're selling, and you want a sort of button for more information, or maybe it's a link to another blog if it's a blog. So the best thing to do for another 3-column section, to make sure your settings are copied across, instead of making a new one, which you could do by clicking here and pressing the green plus, is to duplicate this one. Then all your settings are moved. So click the duplicate row, and we've got 2. We don't want the text boxes, so we can just on each text box delete, click on them, delete, click on it, delete. So they are all moved. So now we're going to have a button under here because we want people to do something. So we do the plus, all sorts of options here. A button module. So we can see we've got a Divi default. It's blue writing and it's aligned left, none of which are great for us, are they? So we'll leave the click here. If you want to change the text, there's the text. The other thing is the link, so you want the button to go somewhere. So this is going to be a call to action, so this is sending them to calltoaction.com. This is wherever you want the link to go, but we want to look at the design because it does not look good. So we'll go to the design, and the first option is alignment, and I want to make that centered. Already that's an improvement, but clearly the color is not right, so I need for that to go down to button, and I need to click the use custom styles for button options. I don't like their default, and I want to change the button text color to white. You can see that's also changed the line color, but not on hover. The line color's gone, and that's a Divi default, which I don't like. Why they do it, I don't know, but I find that annoying. So we need to make the button border color. If we make that white, it now should, there you go, stay white the whole time when you clicked on it or not. We'll click tick for that, so that's done. And just like with the text boxes, we can click on it, duplicate it, move 2 of those across, so we've got them in other places, move that one across. Here we go. So we've now got 3 bits of text telling people about maybe 3 different blogs you've written that are relevant to your blog, or 3 different products you're selling, and they can click there to get more information. So that's looking pretty good so far. Couple of other things you might want to do. We might want to add a bit more space so this image in the background can come through a bit. That's nice and simple. So if we click here on the section and click on the cog, we can go to the design and the spacing, and we can add some padding into this section, so we can have some space basically above and below these boxes and buttons. So let's have a look. So maybe we want to add 100 pixels of space at the top. Apologies, we want to add padding, don't we, because it's inside the box. So maybe we want to add 100 at the top and maybe 200 at the bottom. And then you can see suddenly there's lots of more image appears there. And we can change that to what we want. We want to make that smaller. We can shrink that down a little bit. whatever we want. We can move things around with that. I'm going to move it back to 200, I think. And when we're happy with that, we can click OK. And we've now got this nice 3-column section of text. We've then got the nice 3 call to actions. So you've got a lovely 3-column section within Divi. I hope that is helpful. Well, let's save it and see how it looks. So I don't want to publish it yet. I'm going to save to draft. And once we've done that, we can have a little preview of how it's looking. So that's just saving right now. Ticks have appeared, so that's saved. So let's go to Pages, and Test, and Preview. Open that in a new tab. Just give it a moment to preview. And there we've got it. There's our headline. Here's our 3 sections. Here's our 3 buttons. All looking nice and good to go. So I hope that was helpful. That's how to build a 3-column section in the Divi Visual Builder. I'm Sam Hollis from Sam Hollis Web Design.